My name is Randy Howell, and you're listening to the Faith and Fishing Podcast.
Welcome to the Faith and Fishing Podcast. I'm Cam.
And I'm Robert. In every episode, we're bringing you faith stories and fishing memories from some amazing members of the fishing community.
So join us as we shed a positive light on all things faith and fishing. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Faith and Fishing Podcast. I'm Cam.
Hey, and I'm Robert.
And this is the last episode of Season 4 of the Faith and Fishing Podcast. We thank you so much for tuning in and for making this a successful year. I'm kind of looking at our analytics right now, and just on the podcast side, we're getting ready to hit 10,000 total downloads, and we're at probably getting close to 1,200 on YouTube. So we're over that 10,000, actually getting ready to hit that 12,000 listen mark. So we really thank y'all for helping out with that. This year alone, we eclipsed last year's total listens back in September. So thank y'all for continuing to make this a successful podcast and just kind of keep things growing. If you love this podcast, one way that you can really support us is share it. If you have somebody else who loves podcasts and say, hey, I like to listen to this podcast, maybe you will too. That's how I found a lot of the podcasts that I listen to now. And so be sure to share us. And also, if there's any podcast that you love to listen to, one of the best ways to support that podcast is to use the links and the promo codes that they give you. Whether I know you may be saying, it's a small business, I want to support them, I don't want them to discount anything. But that is how they keep track of the people that we send to them. So no matter what podcast it is, make sure that you're using those sponsor links. And speaking of sponsors, let's thank ours real quick. Just kind of thank them for making this a successful year for us. Savior Outdoors, Jade's Jigs, Omnia Fishing, Atollas, Mr. B Lure Company, and Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle. Most of those guys will be coming back with us next year. So, and some of them will be stepping up a little bit further. We've already talked about Omnia and how they've stepped it up, and they've given you a promo code that you can use beyond your first use. So if it's the first time you've ever ordered from Omnia, use FNF15 for 15% off. After that, use FNF10 and it'll get you 10% off. And we talked last week about the Black Friday deals that everybody's running. So, Jay's Jigs has that secret one. Get Outdoors is doing their end of season all month long. Up to 40% off of some kayak models and accessories. So, most of them are in that 10 to 40% off range. So, definitely worth checking out. There, Omnia had the list. I'm going to pull it up real quick and see if there's something that will be there is something that will be relevant to y'all. Most of them have passed, the ones that he sent out, but so the I'm going to look at the dates here to make sure. So on the day that this comes out, the Daiwa Omnia co-branded promotion. So if you purchase a Daiwa Tatula SV Reel, you will receive a co-branded Carhartt hoodie. And then if you purchase a Zillion, you will get a co-branded Zim CX hoodie. And then there is a to be determined discount on Mustang Survival MAP stuff. So that's going to be through the 27th of November. So be sure to go over to omniafishing.com, and some of these things may need a discount code. You can get that at omniafishing.com/deals. And they will also have some more Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff coming out. So be sure to keep an eye on that deals page. And then saveyouroutdoors.com. They're going to be doing that 15% off. So, Robert, what am I missing?
Nothing. Just you guys keep checking the Omnia app if you haven't downloaded that yet. They're adding stuff to that. It's going to have a ton of features on there. Water temperatures. You always have the anglers and their reports on your local lakes. So if you haven't downloaded that Omnia app, you can also shop from the app. So I pull it up quite frequently to look at the different lakes and see, especially if it's a tournament lake that I don't fish as much, to try to get some kind of gauge of at least a couple of baits to start with wherever I'm going. So check out that Omnia app, and really that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Premier, Premier Pro from Omnia Fishing, you'll be able to see not only the water temperatures, but soon they'll have Navionics up there. They'll have weather radar up there. Everything you need in one app for fishing, including, you run out of baits on the water, go ahead and place your order while you're on the water, and you don't have to wait until you get home. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's run a couple sponsor things, and then we'll get our guest introduced.
A huge selection and crazy fast shipping is already enough to turn heads as an online tackle shop, but Omnia Fishing sets themselves apart with their ambassador program. With Omnia, you can send in fishing reports for your local lakes that recommend baits, structure, tactics, and gear. And when another angler takes your advice and purchases something from your report, you get credit for it to spend at Omnia. The best part means that with Omnia Fishing, you can shop by lake and purchase baits and gear that are proven to work where you're fishing. To get started, go to omniafishing.com and use promo code FNF15 to save 15% on your first order.
If a fly rod is your weapon of choice, check out Atollas. Their Fly Caddy is the most convenient way to get your favorite flies to the water, or just keep them handy by clipping it to your hat, truck visor, backpack, rod case, or just whatever. You can also bundle it up with flies from independent fly tires that Atollas has teamed up with through their Fly Light project. Choose from bundles specializing in redfish, carp, saltwater, or freshwater. Head over to atollas.co, that's ATOLLAS.co, to get your Fly Caddy today, and use promo code faithnfish15 to save 15% on your order. That's faith the letter N, fish the number 15 at checkout for 15% off. All right, so by the time you're listening to this, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, on the Alex Rudd Fishing Podcast, they were talking about positivity in the fishing industry. They took some of the hot topics right now that everybody seems to be complaining about, and found the positive side of it. And he had like a lot to say about positivity, and I was like, we've been trying to make positivity part of our brand. So what better way to kind of close this season out than to bring him on and talk about, let's find the positive in life and in fishing and in all different kinds of situations. So I gotta switch that. There we go.
Right.
Welcome back, man. How's it going, brother?
Dude, I'm happy to be here. I'm glad to be here. I was actually looking at the Omnia website. I was reading this guy's fishing report about Loudon, and on 11/9, he said he caught 40 plus fish. I don't know if they were using dynamite or live bait or what, but I don't know how he caught 40 plus fish. But I gotta find this old Joe Wheelon guy and I guess like crack his knees and ask him what he was really doing. He says it's spinner bait. And he's
Joe,
got,
if you're listening, Joe, send Alex a message and let him know what was going on.
yeah, I mean, oh well, he's a guide too, so I don't know, maybe he's on some stuff I wasn't, but I mean, let me tell you something, boys. I went out on Fort Loudon today. I caught one about 14 inches and then one so small that I don't think it have measured. So that's how my practice went today. But it was still a great day to be alive and a great day to be out here. But no, I was perusing. But I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here. You guys know I love a good old fashioned podcast, and I love your guys' podcast. And so I'm happy to be here with you and happy to be doing this.
Absolutely, man. Well, if anybody missed last time or they are not sure who you are, go ahead, give us the quick rundown on who Alex Rudd is.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm Alex Rudd, and I'm a fishing addict. Yeah. No, so my name's Alex Rudd. I own
Hi, Alex.
Yeah. Hi, Alex. I'm Alex Rudd. I own and operate Alex Rudd Fishing YouTube channel, podcast, and all the other social media stuff that goes with it. Started my YouTube channel probably going on 10 years ago now. And at first it was just a hobby. Hobby turned into a passion. Passion turned into a business. And now I've been in content creation and digital content creation for going on. This will be my third year coming up now. And business is good and business is booming, and I absolutely loving it. And I get to get up every single day and do what I love, which is go bass fishing and make fishing videos about it and make podcasts about it and do stuff like this with you guys. So that's me.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive right into it. I know all three of us are, whenever we get going, we can talk for a while. So I want to give us plenty of time to talk about this. But so positivity, looking for the positive in stuff. I want to know what it is that Alex Rudd is looking for whenever he is trying to find positive in the negative situations. Like, for instance, if you're ready to fillet part of your own arm off because it's covered in poison ivy,
Oh, buddy.
where are you finding the positive?
Yeah. So that's a great question. And it's different every day, man. You know what I mean? And so to give a little kind of backstory of where I'm at in my mental health journey, I actually just put out a video tonight about this. And where I'm at in my mental health journey is my dad passed away on May 18th of this year from a 2-year battle with colon cancer. And so my dad was one of my best friends in the whole entire world. He was my fishing partner. He was my go-to for everything. I mean, my dad was Mr. Fix It All. You know what I mean? And so, he was just one of the most important humans in my life. I mean, it literally went my wife, my mom, and my dad. You know what I mean? And like those are my humans in this world, and obviously my sister, but like those are my humans in this world. And so I am in a point right now with that. I get up every day and I'm sad, and it sucks, and I miss him immensely. There's a deep, dark sadness and melancholy in me that I don't know if I'll ever get rid of. But that being said, every day I have to get up and I have to honor his legacy, and I have to honor who he was, and I have to honor the man that he taught me to be. And the man that he taught me to be was not to sit and wallow in my own sadness, but to get up and to find positivity in every single day. And some days it's simple things. It's I got to let the dog out, and Bobby being Bobby, and he's a little turd, just watching him run around and bark like an idiot, it makes me happy. You know what I mean? Some days it's just being with my wife. Some days it's going fishing. Other days it's simply just rolling over and taking an account of what I've got going for me. Being able to just go, okay, I did that. Like the Lord put breath in my lungs, and there's air that was able to come in and go out. My heart's beating in my chest. So let's get up and do something with that. So that's kind of, I mean, it's different for everybody, but that's where I'm at in my trying to find positivity. You know what I mean? And that's what's really kind of driven me to start creating the content that I have about positivity, is just because I know right now in the world in which we live, and this is a very elongated answer to the question that you asked me, but in the world in which we live, there's like a barrage of negative crap all the time. It's the news, it's social media, it's your own neighbors. You know what I mean? It's like everything. It's like, seems like, hey Bill, how you doing? Well, I mean, hell, it could be better. And it's like, well, Bill, you're alive, dude. It could actually be way worse. You know what I mean? But in that, you've got to find those positive things. You know what I mean? And it's hard some days for me. Like I want everybody to know that it's like I'm not preaching out here that I'm Mr. Perfect, because I can promise you I am far from that. But what I do that's funny, is I try to get up every single morning and like stuff like that. It's just funny. Like, be positive in that. You know what I mean? Like God gave us humor, laugh about things and find funny things and just enjoy the day and what it is. And just that's how I do it, man. It's just, it's finding little things in every single day. Just one, at least one.
Absolutely. So I will say, for a lot of people, they are struggling with something.
Yep.
Some people are like you were talking about. They're the negative because they've always been negative, and that's who they. If they would just look for the positive, they'd find it. Sometimes it's as simple as changing your language.
Mhm.
Instead of saying how's it going? Oh, not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Because one of those things is a negative way to look at it. One of them is a positive way to look at it. And, that it's like the candy bowl on Halloween night.
Yeah.
There's three kinds of kids. There's the one kid who they run up, they grab something, they don't even look, they grab something, they throw it in their bag, and they run to the next house, and they are just excited to be there.
Yeah.
Then there's the kid that they get there and they look at the first few things on top, and they say, oh, they don't have anything good, and they sit there and they grab it and they complain the whole way back down to the street. And then there's the other kid that they have that one thing they're looking for, and they're not going to stop until they find it.
Yeah.
And so my coworker had this video from his Ring Ring doorbell from this past Halloween. The kid came up and he dug through and he said, oh man, yes. And he reached down and he grabbed something. He said, they got the peanut M&Ms. And he starts hooting and hollering, and like you can hear him going all the way down the street. They got the peanut M&Ms.
That's
The peanut M&Ms.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, dude, no, you're right. Like, about like words. What words do you use? What words do you choose to use? Your words carry a lot of weight, a lot more weight than I think a lot of people think they do. I mean, even if you don't have an influence, you're not on a podcast, whatever, then just the words that you say out loud, the words you say to yourself. I saw something the other day. I was listening to a podcast or I was reading something. They were talking about literally how your own internal dialogue can alter your brain chemicals. And so, your brain's made up of a bunch of different chemicals and hormones that give us the emotions and, happiness, sadness, whatever those. So serotonin is the happy chemical. Well, serotonin is what, essentially gives us a good mood, puts us in a good mood. Well, and they said using negative language and using a negative tone, even they said, like, even saying positive things in a negative tone, like, this is a great day to be alive. Like, saying things like that can drop your serotonin levels. And so, like, they were showing significant increases in people who were suffering from certain kind of mental illnesses just by speaking in a more positive manner in everything that they did. And it's not even, they didn't even have to find a positive. They literally just spoke about themselves and to other people in a positive manner. And it started to change the literal biochemistry of their brain and how their brain worked. And so you're 100% correct, man. Like, saying things in a positive way is huge.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we are working on right now as parents is bedtime.
Yeah.
And therefore, a while, bedtime was very much a struggle.
Yeah.
And we still have difficult nights. I mean, he's 2.
Yeah.
there are going to be difficult nights.
Terrible twos, buddy.
Exactly. But we started getting some taking some classes and seminars and stuff on different bedtime routines and things. And one of the things that one of the coaches we started listening to
Benadryl,
really
right? No, I'm
say
just
what?
kidding. I said Benadryl, right? I said no.
No, we haven't tried that yet.
That is a
But
joke, ladies and gentlemen. Just that's a joke. Okay, go ahead, Cam. I'm
it
sorry.
is. And I will say we're terrified to try it because I am one of those that Benadryl like wires
Oh yeah,
it's
very
like an energy
possible,
drink to me.
yeah.
So we're scared to try it with Henry, but the only time he's ever had it was the first time he got stung by something. But anyways, one of the things there's a few things, but one of the things is like whenever we talk about bedtime, if we say, Henry's having a hard time with bedtime.
Mhm.
Bedtime is difficult for Henry. That kind of thing, he hears that and he internalizes that. But whenever we say, right now bedtime is we're learning bedtime and we are going to get better at bedtime. Whenever we start building it up like that,
Mhm.
he believes that he can get through it. And one of the other things that we've started doing is a mantra. And this is one of the things that really started turning things around for us, saying, Daddy is near, Henry is safe, and Henry's bed is cozy, and have him repeat that. And that made such a huge difference for us. It was funny. So the coach is like, yeah, you use, like, Daddy is near, Henry is safe, and my bed is cozy, and have him repeat that. So it's like, all right, repeat after me. And Daddy is near. He'd say, Daddy is near. Say, Henry is safe. Say, Henry is safe. My bed is cozy. Daddy's bed is cozy. Or your bed is cozy.
That's
All
funny.
right. So the next time I go out on the kayak, I'm going to be the bass are near.
Yeah.
The bass are going to bite,
Yes,
and I'm going to catch them.
that's
There
right.
you go.
Yeah.
I like
There you
that.
go.
That's right.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Heck yeah.
Hey, I mean, dude, I do stuff like that. I'm like, there's times like I know how to catch fish. I've been here before. I can do it again. Like, let's hammer down, boys. Like, it's like, you got to build your own self up sometimes. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, that's what's amazing about, I love kids. I love kids because I used to be an educator, as an elementary school educator. I love children's psychology. It was one of my favorite things when I took, when I went to college, children's psychology and child psychology was my favorite. And it's amazing, like a kid, even at 2 years old, how much they can rationalize, understand, and then put back out. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people look at their 2-year-old and they just see their 2-year-old, their little baby. It's the baby. No, it's not just a baby. That is a little human there with a little brain that is literally growing 70% a day. Like a day, his brain grows 70 more percent, and 70, it's a compounding effect on top of itself. I think I read one time that, between like 2 and 5, a kid's brain grows like 7,000% or something like that. And so it's like there's so much going on in that little mind of his, and it just shows you that he is a little human. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's your baby, and yeah, he's your little boy, but he's a little human too that's learning how to be human. He's coming into consciousness. Like, he's literally acquiring consciousness, and he's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm safe. My bed is cozy, but I want to go in Dad's bed. Like, let me see how I can manipulate this man that I love so much. Like, this is my dad, but let me see if I can manipulate him to get into his bed. Like, his little brain's amazing. You know what I mean? So, no, that's cool, man. That's so cool.
Oh, and he's good at it. I need you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Playing them heartstrings, buddy. I mean, he gets that violin out and just starts. Wee.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so and it's like going back to like high school sports and stuff. How much better did you play like whenever you had like a really good like hype man or like a coach that really hyped you up right before the game
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
like got you comfortable, got you loose versus the like you're going in and the only thing the coach tells you is how important this game is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, dude, hell, I still get hyped. Like I got music. Music gets me hype. You know, people's motivation gets me. I'm that guy. Like I will listen to David Goggins on the way to the lake. You know, get hard. Like, I mean, it's like, you know, I love that because it's that, dude. You know, what does that do to you? Like, you know, if you can't listen to that and it doesn't get you hopped up, there's something broken in this. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, dude, you're so correct in that. And like my thing's music. Like I love music. I'm a metalhead though, so like, you know, I like some stuff that probably scare most people. I pulled up to some boat ramps and intimidated some people before because when all of this jumps out of a truck, beard and all, and it's just like, you know, people are like, okay, well, this guy's lost his mind. But it gets me hype. Like that's my hype music. Like it's that dump of serotonin, that dump of dopamine that I need to get going and to be hype and be ready for the day. And again, a positivity. You know what I mean? If you have music that you love, that's your positivity. There's a reason that why UFC fighters, before they go lock themselves in a cage and try to kill the guy across from them with their fist and their feet and their knees and their elbows, they have a walkout song, you know, because it's that hype that they need to get in that zone to go out there and do violence against other humans, which is a weird concept, but it's sports. So it is what it is, you know, but it's crazy.
Robert, I'm going to give you a chance. I've been doing a lot of taking over podcasts here lately.
You're fine.
weigh in.
I was going to direct it into like, what are you planning on fishing next year? I know you fish a lot of your local stuff.
Mhm.
I know last year you dabbled in some Hobie BOS stuff.
Mhm.
I know you and Bailey are tight. I'm sure he's fishing some different stuff, and
Mhm.
I know you've been making a lot of creek and river videos lately. So you're going to mix all that together? You're going to concentrate on one thing or the other, or have you kind of got that planned out, or what's your outlook for 2024?
Dude, yeah, it's a great question. Going to going to pull the pin on the hand grenade and probably just toss it like I always do. But no, I like there's some stuff on Hobie I like. There's some stuff on BASS I like. You know, Drew's got his new kayak adventure series going. He's want me to be a part of that. And we actually have to have a discussion about that tomorrow and what that's going to look like for me to be a part of that. I got some secret stuff that I can't talk to you guys about yet going on with the X2 that's going to be thrown in there. And pure fishing as well. And so that's a great question. Like yes, I'm going to try to do everything. I mean, you know, that's kind of the greatest part of my job is that I have the time to make those decisions to kind of figure out what does my schedule want to look like, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, obviously going to extend more into river and creek fishing stuff. I mean, I've got into that for the past couple of years. I've been loving that. Spent a lot of time with John and Josh. I mean, we're literally fishing once a week with each other if we can. And I think that that's good, not only for us, for our brands, but this also that's friendship. You know what I mean? Those are good, positive humans to be around. And then as far as like the tournament scene, fishing the local trail, did the first tournament of the year a couple of weeks ago, absolutely sucked it up. So that is what that is. Take that one on the chin and we go on to the next one. I got one Saturday with the local trail. And then, like I said, Hobie BASS, there's a couple in there that I like. And then I've also got, I'll be working with somebody new on the kayak side of things this year as well. So that's coming up. All that's going to be 24. You know, we're going to have to, you know, like I got to wait to announce it, build the hype up. You know, I could tell people, but like I like to build the hype up. I got to be my own hype man in that situation. You know, I don't got like a marketing team behind me. So I am my marketing team. So I build my own hype around those things. But yeah, dude, 24 is going to be, it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a fun year. Just all the conversations I'm having, all the opportunities that are on the horizon. It's going to be a lot, but it's going to be a lot of stuff. So that's all that matters.
Awesome.
Sweet.
And so kind of diving into tournament fishing a little bit. So you're out on a tournament and you know you've hyped yourself up and you were ready for this tournament and the fish do not cooperate. All right, so you have paid, let's say you've paid $150 to participate in this tournament. And you've driven, you know, you've driven 8 hours to get to this lake. You slept in your truck last night. And here you are, you're looking at the leaderboard and you know you're sitting in, you know, 113th place and you've got one fish on the board and you're looking, you got 30 minutes left in the tournament. Let's talk about finding the positivity in that situation right there.
I'll do you one better. I drove 12 hours away from the house up to New York. I get to my camping spot. There is no power, no water at the camping spot that's supposed to have power and water. It's two-day Hobie BOS open on Cayuga Lake. So what I do is my very positive, and at this point was not very positive. My very positive self went to the local Hampton. I got me a room that was way too expensive because Dad Jim it's New York and everything's too Dad Jim expensive. That was my first positive. I was like, I'm not sleeping. I'm not roughing it. If we're gonna be here, we're sleeping in a nice bed and I'm getting breakfast in the morning. So that was my first positive. First day of the tournament, I show up. Well, actually, went to practice. And I found them, boys. I found them. Like I'm talking 2 casts, and within those 2 casts, I had 40 inches and 2 fish. That kind of find them. I called Bailey. Said, "Dude, I'm on them. I'm on them." So we go back that night. Bailey, I tell Bailey where I'm fishing. He goes, "Dude." He goes, "I'm just going to warn you, that place will burn you." He said, "I know they're there." He said, "It's like Jurassic Park." He said, "But it will burn you." And I was like, okay. I was like, I still got to try. I show up in the morning. I'm the only person at the boat ramp. I get there. It burns me. 0 the first day of the Hobie BOS Open. Let me tell you where I found positivity in that. I'm in New York. It is June. The water is 65 degrees, and there's a lake about 5 miles down the road, and they're eating a jig and a frog like you ain't never seen before. I trashed the tournament and went fun fishing and just had a good time. I mean, yeah, I took a $250, kick right on the tournament entry fee. I paid like $1,000 for 3 nights in a Hampton Inn in Seneca, New York. But I was in New York. I was alive. I was breathing. I had the pure enjoyment of being able to go catch fish somewhere else, and that's what I did. And I mean, that's the thing is, I got up there, and I'll be honest, and Bethany can tell you this too. I was mad as a wet setting hen, buddy. Like I was mad as could be, pissed off at the world, did not want to do anything. I was just not having a good few days. And if anything, the trip up there was a little bit of a manic decision just because I needed to get out of Tennessee. This is literally 2 months after Dad died, and I was a little bit manic. I was needed to move, go do something. I loaded up. I spent freaking $2,800 in like 4.5 days, but I did it because looking back on it now, time spent with Bailey, time spent on the water, time spent with new friends that I didn't know that I would ever get to meet, and I only got to meet because I went there. And just that whole experience was an overall positive that helped me on my journey to move forward. You know what I mean? And I know that's a kind of a weird, kind of obscure answer. And there's probably people going, dude, I don't got $2,800 to spend, neither did I. But it's just one of those things. It's like in that situation that you laid out, you got to just look at everything as where is that positive? And my positive was I was alive and there was fish to be caught, and I lived and I went and caught fish, and it was great.
So you said you were in a bad place. You were pissed off at the world. You were just having a really rough time.
Yep.
What was the turning point that got you from that to, hey, there's a lake right over here. I'm going to go have fun, and this is the positive that we're focusing on?
That's a good question. I was sitting in the hotel room and kind of rehashing the day where I had zeroed, and I was watching the sunset. In New York, you realize New York's like really flat, especially like northwest New York. It's like Adirondacks, not the mountains, but like the kind of Finger Lakes area. It's really flat, so the sunsets are beautiful. And I was sitting there, and as I'm taking stock in the day and what went on and kind of everything, I don't know, and I'd already decided I'm going to this other lake. I'm going to go catch fish because I want to have fun. I just want to have fun. I mean, I spent a whole practice day just fun fishing as well too. So there's that. But there was this moment in my mind where and I've done this a few times where I can hear my dad's voice. It's weird, y'all. It's the weirdest thing in the whole entire world. And he was just like, I could hear him say like, "What are you doing, sissy?" He's like, "Get up." And it's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that." You know what I mean? And it was like, there was just something about that moment, seeing that sunset, being there in my own, kind of sitting with myself, taking stock. And there would be like in my brain a positive and a negative, and it's like I would have to weigh them, and it's like, well, the positive always outweighs the negative. I'm in New York and the fish are biting. There's a lake down the road. They're biting jigs and frogs. You know what I mean? I'm alive. I'm sleeping in a nice clean bed. You know what I mean? It's like you're not sleeping on the hard ground in a tent with no power and water. You know, and it's like my dad. I could hear my dad's voice just be like, hey, "Come on, sissy, get up. You know what are you doing? What are you doing, man? Like, it's ain't you go." And it's like that was my turning point. You know what I mean? And I've done that a lot in the past few months. I was just fishing the state championship on Tim's Ford. I did not want to be there. I made the team. It was more of an obligation to go there than it was to actually the want to go there. I'll be totally honest with you guys. Like, it's just not many times in my life where I don't want to go fishing. This is just one of those things. It's 3 hours away from the house. I want to be home with my wife in bed. I don't want to be here. Like, kind of, I don't want to be in an Airbnb with a bunch of stinky guys. And so I get there and I show up to the lake and I'm just like, I don't want to do this. And this is not a joke. It's like it's like he was standing off in the woods and he goes, hey, if it was me, I'd throw a shad wrap. And I go, okay. I tie on a shad wrap, 5 casts, I catch an 18.5-inch smallmouth, my first fish of the day. Catch my entire limit on a shad wrap. I don't know what that is. Y'all, I don't. I just know it happens. And it's weird. You know what I mean? But like that was my turning point, though, to answer your question, was just that moment where I'm like sitting with myself, taking stock about the whole situation. And like, I try to work on introspectiveness a lot, and I try to work on self-control and empathy a lot, and I have to work on it because I'm not an empathetic person, nor do I have a ton of self-control, and nor am I a very nice person if I don't work on it. And I said this in the video that I put out. I can be an asshole. Sorry, it's just the way that it is. Not to mince words. I mean, yeah, but I can be, and I was for a long time. You know, in my late teens and my early 20s, until Bethany came along, and you know, my faith journey changed, and I started to realize just how much it meant to the world, and it meant to God, and it meant to me to just find ways not to be that way anymore. And I work on it every day. But the matter of the fact is, I work on it. And so, yeah, that's a long way around the question you just answered, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's it. It's uncanny how similar that story is to my story in terms of, you know, just not being a pleasant person and being quite a bit of a jerk and you know, having to work on it every day to do that. But you mentioned, you know, adding your wife into the mix was a big big part of that for you. So we've talked about, you know, finding positivity. One thing you got to do is just look for it. Another big part for me is surround yourself with positive people.
Amen, brother. Amen. Yeah.
So, you know, I say all the time, you know, surround yourself with people that you trust and that are good at the things that you're bad at. If you're bad at positivity, surround yourself with positive people.
Bro, let me tell you something. Amen. Because Bethany, my wife, is my exact opposite. She's sweet, she's kind, she's empathetic, she's calm, she's reserved, she is non-confrontational. I am, let me cut your legs off first and then we'll sew them back on once we figure it all out. She's not that way. My buddy Ben, one of my best friends in the whole entire world, Mr. Ben Nowak, he's the exact opposite of me. He's calm, he's sweet, he's empathetic, he's analytical. He is a person that I can go to with an idea and he can poke holes all in it, but then help me reconstruct it. My friend Bailey, Mr. Agbrett, one of my best friends in the whole entire world, same thing. He's the exact opposite of me. Bethany, all the time, she makes fun of me. She goes, how do you have such nice friends? She said, because you're not nice at all. And I'm like, I know. I don't know, but I know. And like, those are the, like, you're right, dude. If you're not, and then my friend Michael. So Michael's crazy. Michael's completely crazy. Here's the deal. His ADHD is the only ADHD that I've ever met that out ADHD's my ADHD. Like, the boy's nuts. But his mind works in a way that almost like he is more of my, we're more similar, but we butt heads, and that argumentative kind of back and forth helps to be, it's constructive for us. You know, he's from New York, so he's argumentative and loud anyway. So you just got to kind of get used to it. But you're so right in surrounding yourself with people, not only that are like-minded but opposite-minded as well. To have the ability as a human in today's society to be able to navigate different people's perspectives and understandings and kind of, queries with life is super important, because a lot of us grow up in a way, and I did as well. I'm a Southern dude. I had very Southernisms. I was very Southern, evangelical, white Baptist guy. So it was hard for me for a long time to understand the rest of the world, until I had to go out into the rest of the world and figure it all out. And once you start figuring out the rest of the world, you really can start to kind of weave your way in. And you're always yourself. I'm always Alex Rudd, but being around all these different kinds of people and having these friends, Bailey's from New York, Ben's from Michigan, Michael's from New York originally, then moved to Florida, and then back here to Tennessee. Being around these people have taught me better ways to deal with people in a better way. And so you're 100% correct. My friends, my circle of people, my little group of humans that I love so very, very much are what has helped to build me into what I am. Everything that is I am. Alex as a person, Alex Red Fishing as the brand, the business, everything is all driven off the fact that I've learned a lot from all the people around me. And I'm always a lifelong learner. That's something as an educator I always used to say to all my kids: be lifelong learners. And if you can't take an opportunity to learn something from somebody, then you've wasted an opportunity with that somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, positivity is one of those things. I think you can wake up, you got a choice to make every day. But I think the internet and social media sucks people into the negative, black hole, if you will.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can go down, you can go down rabbit holes on such negative content that it starts to rub off on people. And I feel like sometimes that bass fishing as a whole is the same way, especially when you get on social media, because you have, I'd say, I don't know. It may even be the loud minority. It may not be as many people as I feel like that it is, but there's a ton of people on there that want to complain about some of the stuff you guys talked about in your podcast, the live scope and the different tournaments and what these big tournament trails are doing and who cheated who and who jumped over a dam. And it's just always, and it's refreshing when you see people that are concentrating on the positive stuff. I think you do a great job of that. I'm hoping the kayak adventure series coming up that Drew and you guys are putting on, it seems like that is a positive. Not that the other things aren't positive. I love what Steve-O's doing with BASS. I think AGA does a good job with Hobie. But, it definitely seems like it's more of a festival atmosphere is kind of what Drew is targeting with that. So I'm happy to see that. And, I just don't know how to get, how do you, besides what we do every day, and we try to be positive as a, group and try to rub off on people, how do we steer the ship in the right direction, and try to get more people's outlook changed? I mean, sometimes, I'm sitting there looking at stuff and I'm like, okay, I just got to put this damn phone down.
Yeah.
And that solves a lot of it, actually, just
Yeah.
putting it down. And I go as far as, my kids are older now. They're 19, 17, 15, almost 16. But I tell them, they're sitting there looking at the phone. I was like, that's not the real world. What you're looking at is not all this stuff around you is what's happening, but what's on this phone is not the real world.
Yeah.
But to the majority of people, I think that's the world they live in, is that 5-inch screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you answered one of your questions on your own, but it's two pieces. I think the first piece is, how do we right the ship? These conversations. This is how it starts. I think that there are so many things in this world that I have seen start to change by a simple conversation, a sit down conversation. And that's the thing. Do not have discourse in words in a comment section. That is not discourse. You cannot read somebody's emotions. You will read into the words your own emotions, or emotions that they don't mean to have. Discourse does not happen via words on a screen. It happens in person with words out of our mouth. And so, I could take a person who absolutely hates me. I can promise you, I sit them down at a kitchen table with me over some dinner, And by the time we get done, he may still hate me, but he'll at least understand where I'm coming from, and I'll have a better understanding where he's coming from. And we'll probably shake hands and go on, or we'll fight out in the front yard. I don't know which one would happen, but it is what it is. See, that's that side of me, that side that Bethany would be like, no, it would be okay. But anyway,
both of those would be fun to watch, though.
Absolutely, they would. They would. You're a good handshaking.
Yeah.
Or do we know to go out in the yard? I don't know. We'll find out. I love some UFC, so we'll build a cage right here in the front yard, and we'll go at it. But anyway, no. So I think that's the first thing, is just having these conversations. Like, let's start the conversation, because when the ball gets rolling, it only picks up more steam as it goes on. You know what I mean? And like, you would be amazed with anything. I mean, you guys have seen so as much as social media can be negative, it can also be positive. We just have to find viral positivity. We found plenty of viral negativity. Let's find viral positivity. And then the second thing is, I think you answered your own question, is sometimes you just got to put the phone down. Sometimes you've got to realize that some people, as positive as we want to be, there's nothing we can do to fix them. That they are just what they are, and they are going to say wild things. They're going to do wild things because they're hiding behind a keyboard. Don't invest in a bunch of opinions online that don't matter, because at the end of the day, they don't matter. You know what I mean? These people's words, sticks and stones may hurt me, but I'm getting it too bad. Hearing that?
Okay. Just a tad, but
it's like I can't talk about it. Like, I'm double hearing. Sorry. Oh no. We're gonna get it fixed.
Is that any better?
No. Where did that go?
It just all of a sudden started.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, we're gonna pause the recording.
Bing, bang, boom, baby pack. Yep, we're working.
Hey, there we go.
All right. Hey,
You got the magic touch.
That's it. I love it. I don't know where I was at in my monologue, but I was somewhere. But yeah, no, I mean, like, don't invest in people's, don't invest in people's negative opinions. Don't invest in the comment section. Understand that screen, like I said, don't engage in the discourse with words on a screen. Don't just engage with the negativity on a screen. Understand that when you look at, and I had this conversation with a buddy of mine the other day. He was like, man, I know this guy and he's so rich. He's got all this stuff. And he's just like living the life that I want to have. I was like, bro, for all you know, he is up to debt to his nipples. Just because he has things and posts them online does not mean that that's the life that he's living. That is the life that he's portraying to you with a picture. I was like, think of the 24 hours that he has in a day to live, and you're seeing one picture as a literal, like a capture of time stopped there of the whole 24 hours that he's having. I mean, he could have just gotten a fight with his wife, and the debt collector come to his house and said, I need the keys to that Escalade back. I was like, you don't know. And that being said, to flip that to a positive, because that's a little bit of a negative, flip that to a positive, you have to have empathy for everybody, because you never know what anybody's going through.
Yeah.
So admire, but don't covet. Understand and be empathetic, and don't judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, that's hard, dude. That's a lot harder easier said than done. We all know that. But that's just like having that kind of mental, like, kind of block in your head to make you stop and go, I need to be empathetic here. Even if it's just a flash, he goes, hey, you need to be empathetic here. You go, okay, let me calm down. All right. Like, let me look at this at a different perspective. So that's kind of my perspective on that question, Robert.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome.
And like you said, remember to kind of put an analogy to what he was talking about. Like, if you see a play on ESPN Top 10, from a basketball player that, they come up, they have this one move where they cross over a guy and then dunk on the center, and everyone's like, oh man, that's the only thing you see. They're like, oh man, he's such an awesome player.
Yeah.
And then you look at the stat sheet, he played 3 minutes and that was his one basket.
Yeah.
It's like, and that was the first, he only got to play because they were up by 20.
Yeah.
So it's, just remember, like, social media is a highlight reel, and just like you were saying, stop comparing yourself to what everybody else has going on, and look at what's going on in your life right now and enjoy that.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, the fact that you're alive means you have something to enjoy.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. And I mean, dude, one thing perspective that I can give you is, and here's the deal here, and I give people a little bit more insight and kind of into my brain and how my brain works, because it's a wild place, boys. It would scare y'all to be in here. The screaming never stops. No, I'm just kidding. uh, uh, so one thing that I experienced throughout my life, I got there's three major kind of life-changing experiences, I'll say, that changed my perspective on the world forever. First one is the first time I went to Haiti, which, for you guys that don't know where Haiti is, it's a little Caribbean country attached to the Dominican Republic. It's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It's where both of my sisters are from. Both of my sisters are adopted from Haiti. The second one is the 8 years that I worked at a hospital, part of the code team, and literally bringing people back to life and or not bringing them back to life and experiencing all that is that. And then the day my dad got diagnosed with cancer and his cancer journey. Those three things shaped me as a person. Just do. I mean, it's inevitable they're going to do that. But to go to the first one, the first time I ever went to Haiti, those people, I literally met people who were so poor. Let's put it this way. These people live in a way that I met a little boy who peed his pants out of fear because he did not know what steps were. So take like 5 seconds to really comprehend what I just said. He was so scared of steps that he peed his pants. Can you imagine never have seen steps in your life because you lived that sort of impoverished life? My sister, when she came home for the first time, so when she got out in the garage, she said, "Oh, this is beautiful." She didn't understand that the garage was not just our whole home. She went in and sat down and rubbed the carpet with her hands for hours because she had never felt carpet before. So those people, though, those Haitian people, as poor as they were, as having nothing like they did, these people had no food. They did not have clean water. They had worms from just eating nasty things and having to do that. We're some of the happiest people that you would ever meet in your whole entire life, because literally what you said, Cam, they literally just got up. They literally were alive. And to be alive was to be happy, because it's all they had. You know what I mean? In like, I was lucky, and not so many people, and I call it luck. I am lucky to have experienced the things that I have. Straight up. I find great joy in the fact that I've gone through and seen horrendous things. I've seen people starving to death. I've seen kids with worms so bad that they're literally boring out of their face. I've watched people die underneath me as I'm trying to bring them back to life. I saw my dad battle cancer for 2 years and I saw it take him. But I find a lot of I hate to say the word joy. It's not even joy. It's just I find myself lucky to have experienced that, because that is what's made me who that I am. It gives me the perspective that I need to be able to have these conversations with guys like you and have hard conversations with people to help them to get through whatever they're going through. I mean, because what I've experienced isn't what some dude from war has experienced where he had to kill somebody. But we can find a common ground in that sort of trauma, you know what I mean? And we can work through things, and I can help people keep from diving off into the deep, dark abyss that is our mind, and it is the darkness that is the world, because in all of those horrible things I saw, there was positivities and everything. I never would have got a sister if we never went to Haiti and got to see that. I would have never, been able to help people the way that I did. Working at the hospital gave me a set of skills that I'll never be able to get rid of. Dude, if somebody falls dead in front of me, I know exactly what to do. I know how to go to work. I can help try to bring that person back. And then the whole entire struggle that my dad went through, the joy and kind of the luckiness that I find in that is that my dad's mom died about the same age he lost his mom about the same age that I lost him. And he lived with that sadness his whole entire life. And I find it, I guess, almost, I find a sense of honor in being able to take on that sadness that he lived with his whole entire life. And now I take on that sadness because that sadness and that darkness made him into the man that he was and made him into the father that he was for me. And I know the same thing will happen one of these days when I have a kid, and that I'll be able to take that and know that pain and know that there's positive in that pain. And the positivity is that I need to be the best father that I can be for the time that I have on earth with my future child that I don't know yet. And that's
Yeah.
it. I mean, that's what I can give you. You know what I mean? And like, I say it with a smile on my face, and I try to tell people this. I really, really mean this crap. I'm not just saying it just to hear myself talk. Like, you guys kind of know me. I'm Alex Rudd all the time. I don't mince words. I don't change nothing that I got going on. Like, I'm just me, and this is as real as it gets with me right now.
Absolutely. And, to kind of tie it in, with faith, to wrap up the positivity conversation, the main thing that Christians have that a lot of other people don't have is exactly what is in the biblical definition of faith, and that's the assurance of things hoped for. Hope. Hope is a huge part of positivity. Whenever you can say, I can make it through this because I know what's coming on the other side.
Yep.
And that hope that there is a better future, there is a God, and there is love, and that right there, that's how you can find positivity. You look for it. You surround yourself with positive people. You don't get too caught up into the social media, and you try to use it as a tool for conversation instead. And if you can find it, it's out of print, but if you can find it, a fantastic book on what Alex was talking about is You Can't Text a Tough Conversation. And it's such a good book, and I don't understand how it went out of print so quickly. But 85% of like the value of what you say is conveyed by your tone of voice. Another 15% by your body language, and I may have those two, or another 10% by body language, and I may have those two backwards. But 5% of what you say is delivered in the words that you use. And
that's why you always got to flex on them when you're saying, no, I'm just kidding. No, man, you're so right. Like, to tie it back in, something that there's two things that really stand out. The first one is his blood. It says in the Bible, "Blessed are those who mourn, because they'll be comforted." And Jesus mourned. Shortest verse in the Bible is, and Jesus wept. And the thing is that how wild is it that the Savior of the world and God Himself in flesh cried because Lazarus was dead? It's weird. When you really think about it, like, why? Like, He knew He was going to bring him back. Like, He knew that He was going to bring him back to life, and He knew the comfort of what was coming. Like, He knew that it was all going to be okay, but He still wept. And why is that? Because mourning, in that process of mourning, is just a very human thing. It shows the humanity of our God. You know what I mean? It shows that He is empathetic to our human existence and to the what it means to be a human. And like that in itself has been very, it's been something I've kind of like hung my hat on and hung my faith on, really. Like, cause it's just an interesting process to think about Jesus crying for somebody that He knew He was going to bring back to life. But then you think, man, that just shows that God understands where I'm at, how I feel. And even though I know what is to come, I know Dad's in heaven. He's partying right now. Like, he's having so much more fun than we could ever imagine. My dad was so jacked up to see Archangel Michael. I mean, he talked about it. Like, he was so jacked to see him. Like, he was jacked to see heaven. You know what I mean? He was ready to be there. He told me he was ready to go. I was ready for him to go. But even though I know that comfort's there and I know that there's a hope, it still gives me hope that Jesus himself mourned knowing the good that was coming, even though because he knew the human experience of what it meant to mourn and to feel that and to go through that process. And that gives me hope because that when I pray, I'm like, Jesus, you know where I'm at. I know you're God, you know where I'm at, but you really know where I'm at because you did this thing. You did this whole life thing. And so it's cool, man. That's some cool stuff right there. Like that's big stuff
Absolutely.
for me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, if you've got time, we've got a brand new set of what's your favorite questions. So we
Let's
can
go.
all right. Well,
I'm
let's
so
take care of that right after this. Mr. B Lure Company is making high quality handcrafted lures and has been for 30 years right here in the US. Using all metal components, owner and gamakatsu hooks, and silicone or frog hair skirts, Mr. B is pumping out some awesome spinner baits, jigs, buzz baits, underspins, and more, including some of the most unique bladed jigs on the market. To fill up your tackle box, go to MrBLureCompany.com, that's MRBLureCompany.com, and use promo code faithnfishnpod1x10 at checkout to save 10% on your first order. That's faith the letter N, fish the letter N, POD, so Faith and Fishing Pod, just like our Instagram handle, 1x10. If finesse fishing is your comfort zone, something you want to learn better this year, or just something you like to tie on as a Hail Mary pass, Jade's Jigs has everything you need and more, and it's all eco-friendly and lead-free. With an awesome selection of baits and colors, they've got a variety of techniques covered for you. Finesse jigs, underspins, Nico weights, Ned rigs, and more are all waiting for you at jadesjigs.com. And while you're there, use promo code FNF10 for 10% off your purchase. That's jadesjigs.com and promo code FNF10 for 10% off. All right. So first on the new set of what's your favorite questions, your favorite character from the Bible.
Jesus.
Yeah, is that
I mean,
Two in a row.
that's two in a row?
That's
I don't think we didn't have anybody say Jesus for how long has it been? And then
Yeah, for
That's
quite a while.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's the ultimate character. I mean, the
There
whole
you go.
thing's about him anyway. But if I wasn't going to say Jesus, I'd probably say probably David, King David. I mean, like he murdered some dude because he wanted to have sex with the guy's wife, and then God goes, "You're a man after my own heart." I still don't understand that myself, but it gives me hope that I'm doing all right. So there you go.
What about your favorite Bible translation?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Dude, that's hard because I literally have four different Bibles and I use them all. Like I am Mr. like weave in and out. I'll tell you one that I don't have that may become my favorite is a Blue Letter Bible. Have you ever heard of that? So
I haven't heard of the Blue Letter.
So a Blue Letter Bible, it is like a cross. It's a cross-referencing Bible where you can look at what the words mean in Hebrew. So it has English, Hebrew, and then what those words mean in Hebrew, which is fascinating to me. I want to get one of those. But right now I'm kind of rocking in the I think it's the American it's new. I don't know what it's called, to be honest with you guys. I'd have to look. It's like the New American Standard Translation or something like that. New American Standard. I like that one. It's wordy, but it's very accurate from what my understanding is. Yeah.
For sure. All right. So your favorite book of the Bible?
Oh man, Job. That's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, at the very end when it says the Lord gives and takes away, blessed be the name of the Lord. That's it, boys. That's going to be life. So get used to it.
That's it. What about favorite time of the day to fish?
Oh. That's a good question. All the day, all the time, 24/7, 365. I'm going to go morning, like early morning, like daylight, like right at daylight, sun's coming up, like everything kind of comes to life. That's yeah. A lot of good times have been spent then.
All right. Your favorite lure color?
Orange, blaze orange, methylate orange, like the orangest thing that you could possibly get. It doesn't work all the time, but when it works really, really good.
Favorite pizza topping?
Oh man, These are good ones. I like these. Favorite pizza topping. Can it be like a combo? Like combines a bunch of things. All right.
Yeah.
So there's a place near here called South Coast Pizza that's got some really, really good pizza. And they've got a Korean barbecue pizza. And it's like Korean beef with like a hot Korean sauce and onions. Oh my gosh, y'all. Right out the park, son. It's so good.
It
Interesting.
sounds good. All right. And so I told Matt Ball this too. So the food ones, so like pizza topping, fishing snack, fish to eat.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones of the what's your favorite questions that I'm going to judge you for. So,
So pineapples and anchovies probably wouldn't have been a good answer for the favorite topping.
Pineapple was my favorite pizza topping. So
that's nasty. I'm going to judge you. You're nasty. All right, going to the next one.
All right, your favorite TV show of all time?
Of all time, Band of Brothers. God, it's so good. Have you seen the new? They've got a preview for it's the sequel to Band of Brothers, and it's about the aviators who flew all the Band of Brothers.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, Band of Brothers, though. Yeah,
solid pick. Solid.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, man. Well, we're going to start wrapping things up. You've already let us know what's coming up for next year to the best of your ability right now. Yeah. But what's coming up next?
So like next as in like what's like within the next couple weeks, or next is like just everything that's coming up?
However you want to take that question. So this episode is going to be coming out the day before Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Heck yeah. Eat too much for me. That's my favorite holiday. One of my favorite holidays. So what's coming up next? I'm going to go to bed. It's going to be great. No, I got some pretty cool videos coming out. I got one video coming out at the end of November, so it'll be out by the time you guys listen to this here podcast. I'm going out with forward-facing sonar for the first time with the sole intent of actually fishing with forward-facing sonar. So I've not had it on my boat until August of this year, and I've not gone out on a trip with it to solely fish with it and try to figure it out. And I think it's going to be a really cool video because it's going to answer a lot of questions about, is it a tool that just like catches fish or does it not? And you got to watch the video to find out. And I think that I made it in a very informative and fun way. So I got that coming out. And then other than that, man, I'm just like, I'm out here. I literally have like enough videos to get me through November. I got to go catch some fish. I got to figure some stuff out. Like, it's been a rough month so far as catching fish. And so I just got to get out there and wade into the mystery and see what happens. But we got some cool stuff with that. And then another big thing is working with Punt Foundation. So if you guys don't know what Punt Foundation is, it's a pediatric cancer organization that I work with. That was kind of my dad's wish is when he passed away, he wanted no flowers given. He wanted all the money to be given to Punt Foundation. And he actually helped me and my cousin Lee to bring an extension of Punt Foundation. So they originate out of Buffalo, New York. And my cousin got hooked up with them because he was a Buffalo Bill, and they worked with the Bills to raise money there. So we extended a chapter into Knoxville, and now we're helping Knoxville kids that are battling pediatric cancer. And so what Punt does, it's really, really cool, is they don't fund research because there's a lot of money going to research. They help families. And so like if a family needs a gas card, a hotel voucher, a food voucher, their air conditioner goes out on their house, Punt Foundation helps them to cover those sorts of extra medical costs that we don't think about, that a lot of people can't cover because their kid's battling cancer. One or more parent has to quit their job to be able to take them to chemo and to all the therapies they've got to go to. And so they start to acquire a lot of extra medical stuff. So Punt Foundation helps to do that. And we've got some awesome stuff coming up that I'll be announcing on all my social media stuff. Great ways to raise money and to just have a giving opportunity to help kids that are going to be battling cancer for the foreseeable future. So that's what I've got going on. That's what I'm excited about. And yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Go eat too much. It's my literally one of my favorite holidays because it's just about eating, and I like eating. So
absolutely. And did you want to shout out any sponsors, supporters, anybody you want to say thank you to?
Yeah, no, my wife first and foremost, because if it wasn't for her, this whole thing would just burn to the ground and I'd be a heaping pile of just mess. And we actually we sat down the other day and looked at 24, and 24 is going to be a fun ride to say the least. And if it wasn't for her helping me do the whole business side of things and keep all that going in the right direction, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Obviously, my mom, She's been going through a lot, just as much as I have lately, and she has been as strong as any woman can be, and she's a tough cracker, meaner than I am. So just imagine that. But she's tough. So I want to thank her, and then everybody that supports Alex Red Fishing. Pure Fishing as a brand set. That's Abu Garcia, Fenwick, Berkeley, Plano, all those people. It's an amazing company. I love them. X2 Power batteries, those are my two biggest supporters. They really help to keep this thing rolling in the right direction. And then, Do It Molds and everybody else that I work with. It's an awesome group of people, and they help to keep this thing going forward. And, like Humminbird and Minn Kota as well. I mean, it's just, I am blessed. Like you said, surround yourself with good people. And that's what I feel like I've done in the industry is I've tried to build as much respect as possible, and I've surrounded myself with good people. And if their name is listed in the description of my videos, or I use their products in my videos, I can promise you they're good humans trying to do good stuff. And so go support them.
Absolutely. And I don't know if y'all have gotten a chance to listen to Andrew's kind of breakdown with the guy from Fenwick on Tackle Talk podcast, but those new rods that they have coming out, they sound like something that is definitely going to be worth checking out. A lot of work seemed to have gone into those. So.
Dude, they're so good. I've been playing with the World Class and the Elite Series, and dude, they're out of this world. Like, they're phenomenal rods. So you need to check them out. I was really impressed with what Fenwick did there. And they're the coolest thing is the whole family of actions, the way that you can go from the Eagle series all the way up to the World Class, the same length, same action. You're getting the same length, the same action, everything out of it. You just to get to go up in higher components and just higher quality material. Not to say the Eagle's bad or the World Class is better. It's just we're putting it at a price point and a material set that helps you to get you at that price point. So if you want 99 to 499, we've got you covered all the way through, which is just, it's cool, man.
For sure. Well, Alex, man, thank you so much for coming back on the show. This has been an awesome conversation, and I am looking forward to getting this one out there. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming back on.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. No, yeah, thank y'all. You guys are awesome. Got a great show, and I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle is one of the largest canoe, kayak, and cycling retailers in the Southeast, with a huge selection of kayaks, canoes, bikes, and all the accessories needed to experience paddling and cycling comfortably and safely. Get Outdoors helps to expand and educate the paddling community through their free demos held on local lakes in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, and through in-store clinics and on-the-water courses and demos. And we'll even get your new boat rigged up for kayak fishing for you. Stop by the shop in Greensboro, North Carolina, or check out shopgetoutdoors.com to be wowed by their selection.
Few things ruin your day on the water as bad as losing gear. But with the retrieval devices for fishing rods, action cams, bow fishing bows, and more from Save Your Outdoors, you don't have to let dropping your stuff ruin your day because you can get it back. The pressure-sensitive filter keeps water from rain and quick dips in the water out, but it lets water in when your gear goes overboard to release a float attached to your gear by 60 feet of line so you can get it back. Go to SaveYourOutdoors.com to learn more and try some for yourself, and use promo code FNFP15 to save 15% on your order. That's SaveYourOutdoors.com and promo code FNFP15. All right, man. What a great episode. Faith stories, fishing memories, positivity. That's what we're about. And it's I think that was a good way to end the season, man.
I agree. Yeah, that was an awesome episode. Good way to wrap up 2023, and looking forward to 2024 already.
Heck yeah, man. Another huge thank you to Alex for coming back on the show and talking positivity with us. I'll have his links in the show notes. And another huge thank you to all of you for listening, whether this is your first episode or whether you've heard every single episode. It means so much to us that you're listening, and we are super thankful that you are a part of this. we are excited to see what God does with it next year. And, we're going to be doing some work in the off season to try and get things ready to put out an awesome podcast for you starting sometime in January this next year. Hopefully we don't push it back too far this time. But yeah, let's close it out in prayer, man. God, thank you so much for this podcast. Thank you for everyone who's listening, everyone who's been a guest, everybody who has helped out in any way. Thank you for all the supporters and sponsors that help out this show. Thank you for Alex and what he means to so many people in this fishing industry and outside of it. And pray that you continue to bless Alex Rudd Fishing, continue to bless Alex Rudd, and just continue to power him through the mourning process that he's going through. God, we are thankful for the listener right now, wherever they're listening, no matter how far into the future they're listening to this. Pray that you meet them where they are, and pray that they get something out of this episode, and maybe can take some positivity with them. And pray that you continue to help us, Robert and I, be lights of positivity in the fishing industry. Help us be leaders that steer the ship towards positivity and away from all the negativity that is just full in this industry, and help us to shine a light on all of the positivity that we see, and help us to continue sharing the positive stories and the faith stories and fishing memories that people want to share. God, we love you, and as always, we ask that you put on a show in and through everyone who is listening, everyone who's been a part of this show. God, we love you, and it's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this season. Y'all take care, and God bless.
Heck yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Faith and Fishing podcast. Faith and Fishing is produced and hosted by Cam Steele and Robert Randolph, and is sponsored by Savior Outdoors, Jay's Jigs, Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle, Mr. B Lure Company, Atollas, and Omnia Fishing. Don't forget to join the Facebook community, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe, rate, and review us on whatever app you're listening on. That's going to do it for this episode. Y'all take care, and God bless.